Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show on a Thursday night. I'm your host, Jake Johnson, and tonight we're going to talk about magnets, which are really just dramatic rocks. Overly dramatic at that. Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see y'all. Happy Thursday. Thursday, I guess. It's weird, but I hope everyone's doing good today. And hi, Jake. How are you tonight? I feel pretty good, all things considered. I don't quite have as much pressure on my throat tonight as I did last night, or the night before, It's actually kind of calmed down a little bit. Maybe I can make it raw before the evening's over. That's the way to do it. And Debbie's here. She says, howdy, y'all. Hi, Debbie. You get the gold star. You're first in chat. How are you doing? Amanda says, here's your gold star, Debbie. Now me, I'm sitting here drinking a cup of coffee while you're over there admiring your new gold star. But I would ask, don't you want to have a cup with me? If you do, go to the kitchen, pour yourself up a nice hot cup, and let's get to talking about those magnets and what you can do with them. But if you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one that has this face on it. It is fantastic. But we also have stainless steel tumblers down there, the big ones and the little ones. They have locking lids and the Untethered Bible Study logo on the front. All my platforms on the back, and they look great on your coffee table. They hold your coffee hot for hours. That's the most important part. So get one while supplies last. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. But if you want to show up a little bit of love, help me pay my light bill. If you want to put a little clang-a-lang in my pocket, if you want to, you can do that by going to CashApp and hitting that $sign Jake Johnson band. One more thing. If you like to have a great place to hang out, a great place outside of YouTube where you can just let your freak flag fly, we got an all-new Facebook page called Facebook.com/UntetheredLive Chillin'. All one word, Untethered Live Chillin'. Go check it out. The link is in the chat. The ladies are posting some great memes over there, and it's quite hilarious. So it's a good place to hang out and share pictures, videos, texts, and chats. So go check out everybody. So I appreciate your patronage. And now, on with the show. I spoke too soon. Just as soon as I started talking, it started cutting out. But it don't hurt. That's a good thing. Last night I felt like I had steel wool in my throat. Tonight I just can't talk. Amanda says, hi, Debbie. Kevin Bernard. What's up, my brother? Nice to see you. Kevin says, hello, Amanda, Jake, and Debbie. And Amanda says, hey, Kevin. And Debbie says, what debauchery is the topic tonight? And how can we use those dramatic rocks? Well, I use them to charge little posts, little tiny posts, 6 of them. And when I charge them, then I wrap them with a bunch of copper wire, real thin, number 42 copper wire, coated copper wire. And then I hook them up to a load, goes to an amplifier, and causes it to create music, rock and roll to be specifically. That's how you make pickups with earth magnets. Alnico 5, which is aluminum, nickel, and cobalt mixture and magnetized. That's not a real magnet, though. A real magnet comes from the earth, and it's a rock that naturally has magnetic properties, which is quite amazing. It's like magic, actually. And further proof that we actually live in a magnetic universe, an electric universe, that it has nothing to do with gravity and science. It has to do with electricity and attraction and density and buoyancy and all of the good stuff that you can see with your eyes everywhere you look. The same gravity that allows a butterfly to float over the edge of the ocean holds the ocean to the bottom of the earth, but doesn't pull the butterfly down with it. That same Same gravity as clouds floating above the butterfly and oxygen in between. It's amazing. That's magnetics. That's buoyancy versus density. It's quite an interesting topic of study, of which I've been down that rabbit hole many days, trying to understand this crazy thing we call life. And I got a pretty good handle on it, I think. What do you think? It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what you think. Debbie says, I bet I beat Kevin literally and figuratively. Really? I hope you enjoyed it. Literally and figuratively. Amanda says, are we going to watch the left put them in their pipes and smoke them? LOL. I might give them some sense. It might give them some sense. Are you talking about the magnetic rocks? Why would you smoke magnetic rocks? I see. It's a crack joke. Got it. Amanda says, oh, damn, Debbie. And Debbie says, it's okay, Amanda. Kevin likes it. Kevin says, LOL. I bet. Most men like attention, however it comes. Remember, we are the guys that when we're 11 would punch you in the arm if we think you're cute. That's just how we handle things. Amanda says, you didn't beat him with the rocks, did you? I don't think that's what she meant. Dice. Amanda says, I bet he does. I bet he does like it. And Debbie says, only when he asks me to, Amanda. And Debbie says, and he asks a lot. Hey, man knows what he likes. Ain't nothing wrong with that. And listen, a good man don't have to ask. Just so you know. Amanda says, hang on. Amanda says, wow, damn it, man. Kevin, you dirty boy. Nah. Kevin says, something I beg, or sometimes I beg. Well. Amanda says, oh yeah, a man who begs for it. Yes. Yeah, that will never happen. Never in a billion years would I ever beg you for it. So don't worry about that happening. I can see why you'd like that idea, though. It's not going to happen for me for so many reasons. Kevin says, hello, Jake. What's up, my buddy? Nice to see you. Amanda says, Kevin, do you make her beg for it too? LOL. And Kevin says, Amanda, only towards the end. You guys are crazy tonight. Amanda says, oh, wow, damn it. And Debbie says, I beg for it to get over. Ha ha, really? Somehow I don't think that's true. Why would you want it to end? Amanda says, ouch, Debbie. And Kevin says, I think we were talking about Deb begging for the end, the climax. I got what we're talking about. I'm pretty good at double entendres. Kevin says, ah. Amanda says, LOL. Maybe, Kevin. Amanda says, LOL. Like you, Jake, you never have to ask. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I know it's sexy listening to me rasp, but I can't help it. Amanda is a horn dog. You don't know the half of it. You ought to have seen what I walked in on this afternoon. Popped in unexpectedly. Rich S. says, hey. What show is that from? Fat Albert. Hey. Yes, Rich, I'm old. Kevin says, LOL, Jake. And John, what's up, buddy? And hey, Rich. Hey, John, John says, hi, everyone. I have to ask myself. Kevin says, hello, Rich and John. Amanda says, obviously, you are too, Debbie. Obviously. Amanda says, hi, Nugget. Amanda was naked in the kitchen. Sort of. Yeah. She was naked and there was cooking involved. Let's put it that way. There was cooking going on. Whole lot of shaking going on. Ooh. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. So it's Thursday and I'm here. Rich says, as long as she wasn't frying bacon. Beans don't burn in the kitchen. Corn don't grow on the grill. What movie is that from? Amanda says, hi, Rich. It's a good cup of coffee. Thank you. Kevin says, the Jeffersons. That's right. Where did the Jeffersons come from? Do you know? The Jeffersons is actually a spinoff. Do you know from what show? Debbie says, bacon requires an apron. Don't ask how I know. Rich says, hi, Amanda. Only speaking English tonight. Thank you, sir. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie. And Kevin says, Archie Bunker. Man, you're on fire tonight, Kevin. You're right. Absolutely. All in the Family is the correct answer, though. Rich says, spinoff of All in the Family. That's right, Rich. Amanda says, good, Rich. Rachel's back. Hello, Rachel. How are you, sweetheart? Vera Lynn. What do you want me to call you, Rachel or Vera Lynn? I'll call you whatever you want. I just need to know where you want me to point. I got to shoot this thing. Just tell me where to aim. The chest or the face? I mean, Vera or Rachel? Kevin says, hello, Vera. And Amanda says, hi, Rachel. Amanda says, LOL. And Vera says, ℂ𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝. I'm on fire tonight. And Debbie says, Amanda says, upper backside. And Vera says, I don't care. Either works. Okay. That's all that matters. How was your evening? Are you doing well today? Amanda says, well, she donates to your BJ fund, so I'm guessing mouth. Hey, whatever, man. I'll take it any way I can get it. An electric bill don't pay itself. Y'all are very sexual when it isn't Bible study night. Lord, I know, right? I try to be a good boy, honest I do, but they come in here with some bangers. No pun intended. And I have to respond. I can't just let it lie. And it just inevitably gets worse. Amanda says, Rachel, it's nuts in here. I hope that's a good thing. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. I personally don't think that it's a sin to have sex. I can't find any place in the Bible where it says so. So I hope that that's not an oversight on my part. But I really think we're sexual beings, and that's quite all right to be that way as long as everybody's willing and nobody's offended by it. In my opinion, I don't know. I'm not the authority on the subject, but I think the Puritan way of thinking is a bad way of thinking. I mean, the first thing God ever said in the Bible, the first words God spoke that someone else heard was, have lots of sex and fill up the earth. Don't believe me? Read Genesis. Rich says, except for this, Volez voice, coucher avec moi C'est sûr. It's also a song. Okay. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Kevin says Vera equals Rachel. Yes. Vera says, LOL. Are y'all not getting enough at home? Well, I assume Amanda is, but everyone else acting like it's been decades, LOL. I think we just enjoy talking about it, and we're amongst friends that can appreciate the humor. I think that's all it is. And, people like to feel free to express themselves in that way and know that it's a safe environment. And they know I'm not a threat. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to bang anybody's wife or anything like that. So it's just all in good fun. Amanda says, yes, Kev. And Debbie says, Vera, it's Kevin's fault. And Vera says, yep, Kevin. Amanda says, LOL. I mean, can you really get enough? I don't think you can. Kevin says, Vera Lynn, name from Pink Floyd, ? Now that you mention it, probably so. And Vera Lynn says, I mean, I understand. My fiance is in Sweden, but a year worth the wait. I hear you. And Vera says, Kevin, hell yeah, my favorite band ever. Kevin says, one of mine also. And John says, mine been a century. Oh, Lord, John. We need to get together and find you a call girl, 1-800-GIRL. Amanda says, it's fun to talk dirty and have fun, smiley face. Sometimes just don't get too dirty. You can say a lot of things without getting too descriptive. Rich says, I think God's exact words were be fruitful and multiply, but close enough, Jake. LOL. Well, that's what those words mean. So, you're right. I was paraphrasing, but that is what it says. Amanda says, oh, poor Nugget. And Kevin says, Vera Lynn, does anyone here remember Vera Lynn? Remember how she said that we would meet again some sunny day. Nice. Vera Lynn says, yes. Heart. I've been known to dabble in a little Pink Floyd from time to time. John says, I was watching Pink Floyd Pulse on my projector. Nice. Kevin says, Jake, it's Pink Floyd lyrics. I got that. I did get that. I mean, I know a little bit of Pink Floyd. Vera Lynn says, my top 3 are Pink Floyd, Roy Orbison, and Genesis. Oh, yeah? I wish I could sing. But I can do this. imagine night. Oh no. That's worth the price of admission right there. How about that? 3 that you called out randomly and I just pulled them right out of my ass. God, I wish I could sing those songs to you. I can't do it anymore, though. Amanda says, rub it in, Nugget. Projector. Vera says, when I had my piano music room, everything was Roy Orbison. Nice. I like Roy. He's a good musician, that guy. Vera says, even pajamas. Nice. What kind of piano did you have? I'd like to get me a decent piano, and they're selling one, a cheap one, made by a company called, what is the name of it? I can't remember the name of that company. They make guitars also. 𝕭𝕬𝕝. It's a 𝕭𝕬𝕝 piano. It's like $200, and it's a full-size 88-key piano. I'm going to buy one of those. Kevin says, Phil Collins. That's right. I wish you were here. I do that one too. Traveling Wilburys as well, says John. Oh yeah, Tom Petty and Roy Orbison and the other Beatle. What was his name? The one that's not so popular. And one other guy. I don't remember who the other guy was. Amy is here. Hey, Amy. She says, I'm here. I'm cleaning up a flood. Well, good gracious. I'm glad you're here, though. Hi. Kevin says, hello, Amy. And Amanda says, hi, Amy. Oh, no. And Vera says, nice, Jake. My pleasure. If I could sing it to you, I'd sing it to you all night long, honey. I just can't do it tonight. I wish I could. Kevin says, pretty woman. Rich says Pink Floyd was best with this lead singer. A, Roger Waters. B, Syd Barrett. I know that Syd Barrett did something else. Was it the Sex Pistols or something like that? Or was it just Pink Floyd? Or am I mixing him up with somebody else? Is there two Sids? Sid Vicious. Never mind. Forget what I said. I know who Syd Barrett is. Didn't he kill himself? Yeah. All right, I'm back. John H. says Phil Collins lives in Switzerland now, retired. Is he still alive? I didn't know that. I thought he died in the 2000s. Vera says, well, Sid was first, but yes, they're both brilliant. Kevin says, world of confusion. That's right. Oh, Vera hit me with a $9.99 super chat. She says, thanks for pulling that out your ass. You're welcome. My pleasure. I really wish I could sing it to you, but I just can't do it. John says, Phil, I read that one. Let's see, where we at? Message retracted. I can't read it if you retract it, Kev. John says, George Harrison. That's the guy. The other Beatle. Yep. Kevin says, land of confusion. I've been living in the land of confusion. With a Ronald Reagan mask on for some reason. And a Superman suit. That video tripped me out when I was a teenager. That's the first time I'd ever saw, like, you know, expressive art like that. It was weird. I was all kinds of questions about that video. Really strange. Somebody's mind on the screen, you know. Amanda says, you're awesome, Rachel. Thanks. And Rich says, Phil Collins is 74 and retired 3 years ago. He can't sit up straight for long. Serious spinal issues, I bet. John H. says, Syd Barrett used to live in Cambridge, UK, only 20 miles before he died. Only 20 miles from you before he died? Cool. Rich says, Buddy's talking about coming back out of retirement. Kevin says, Jake is a damn good video. It is good. It was just weird. I just had never seen anything like that before in my teenage years. That came out about the same time Tom Petty started making videos. Last Dance with Mary Jane or whatever it was. I don't remember now. But those videos were just strange to me. You know, they just drew me into this other world. I didn't know people could think like that. That's kind of what turned me into a rock and roller. Rich says, was Sid Barrett Cockney, John? Did he have a really strong accent that you couldn't understand? If so, probably. Vera says, Rich, they did a reunion tour in England, but Steve Hackett, Steve Hackett nor Peter Gabriel were there. Well, that's not good. That's not a reunion, it is. There's a couple of dudes getting together and jamming out. John says, Phil won't come out again. He has arthritis in his hands. That's terrible. It really sucks when we start getting old and realize it. I mean, I always knew I was going to get old. I just didn't expect it to happen so fast and while I was still so young. I don't even know if you realize this or not, but I still got quite a lot of piss and vinegar left in my veins. Here I am getting old and can't do it anymore, and I don't like it one bit. He can still sing, though. Nice. Vera says, he did a show and he sat in a chair during his performance. Well, hey, you do what you got to do when you get old. That's what Ozzy just did. Had a big old throne. I suppose if you got to sit in a chair, you got to make it a throne. Like the Game of Thrones throne. He can't play drums, but he still sings. Yeah. Well, to be honest, he wasn't really that much of a drummer to start with. I mean, he did it because they didn't have a drummer. I suppose he was efficient, though. Amy says Connie Francis died. Really? Wow. Man, we're getting old. What about the guy that was there when the Beatles got started? Sorry, the Eagles. You know, the singer guy that was around, basically got the Eagles together. I can't think of his name for some reason. Johnny says Phil was a film star to the film called Buster. Really? Interesting. And Rich says, did you guys see Ringo Starr just came out with a country album? He performed live at the Grand Ole Opry and looked like death warmed over. I did not see that. I'm going to have to go look. Vera says, wowee, Jake, sir. He was a great drummer. I didn't say he wasn't a great drummer. I said he wasn't a great drummer as far as drummers go. Well, I did say that, but I meant in the world of drummers, he's not up on the list. I didn't say he couldn't play drums. After Pete left, they didn't have a singer, so Phil became it. Right. It's the same reason he became the drummer. They didn't have a drummer, so he did it. It's actually a mark of his musicianship. That's what I do. I fill in wherever somebody's not there. Rich says, Eagles, do you mean Don Henley? No, I mean Jackson Browne. Is that the name? Jackson Browne. The guy that put the Eagles together in the room. Is he still alive? Something Brown. I think it's Jackson Browne, but I might be wrong. It's like two last names. Vera Lynn says, well, I mean, he isn't Neil Peart, but right, that's all I meant. I wasn't downing his ability to play drums. I was just saying, as far as drummers go, you don't think of Phil Collins when you think of drummers. He is a drummer. So is the guy from the Eagles. I mean, he's not really a great drummer either, but he gets the job done. Don Henley. And I don't think he intended to be the drummer initially. Seems like he was just a singer to start with. I don't know much about it, so I'm just talking out of my ass right now. Dakota Wright says, hey, friends. Hey, Dakota. Nice to see you. Amanda says, hi. And Amy says, my area is under a flash flood warning. It rained 3 inches in an hour. Jesus. Please stay safe, Amy. And Amanda says, yeah, stay safe. And Rich says, one of my favorite all-time songs is Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel. I like Sledgehammer. John says, I've seen Pink Floyd live at Live Aid in Hyde Park, London. Nice. Jackson Brown, stay. That's it, Jackson Brown. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Not Glenn Fry. Jackson Brown is who I was talking about. I didn't mean a guy that was in the Beatles. I meant the guy who's the Beatles. I keep saying the Beatles, the Eagles. I didn't mean who was in the Eagles. I meant they used to live at his house when they got together. He's the reason they became the Eagles. They used to be a backup band. Let's see if I get this right. For a chick singer, Linda Ronstadt. They started out as a backup band for Linda Ronstadt. And they sounded so good together that Jackson Brown, who was also a musician for Linda Ronstadt, said, you guys need to have your own band. And so they practiced at Jackson Brown's house when they first got started and became the Eagles. Amy says it's still raining hard. I hope I can get home tonight. I hope so too, Amy. Please let us know you get home safely. Rich says, got it, Jackson Brown, legend. Yeah, he was good. Amanda says, me too, Amy. You need a canoe or a paddle boat. Yeah. John H. says, Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel was good. I don't think I've seen that. One of my favorite bands growing up, obviously, was Lynyrd Skynyrd. I've always liked that kind of music. Kind of push, it's rock and roll, but it's more attitude driven. Vera says, good night. Don't leave us, Vera. Where are you going? You just come and go? Rich says, Southern Rock, CSN. CSN? Country Southern Nation. What is CSN? Don't leave, Rachel. Amanda says, night, Rachel. Kevin says, good night, Rachel. And John says, Paul McCartney made Lulu famous at the Cavern in Liverpool, too. Nice. I don't know who Lulu is. Well, we love you, Rachel, if you're going to go. Sorry. John said, yeah, I read that one. Rich says, who sings Southern Cross Check? Southern Cross is Marshall Tucker Band, I think. That sounds right. It might be Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but I think it's Marshall Tucker Band. Oh, CSN, Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Got it. I guess it is Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Got it. I see it now. Took me a minute. You see, my mind is slow, but it catches, but it takes a minute sometimes. So I guess I'm wrong. It's not Marshall Tucker Band. It's Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They got a very similar harmony structure. That's why I think that. Remember Seven Bridges Road? Very similar harmonies. Remember Love the One You're With? Yeah, I play all that stuff. I think a few people may have done Southern Cross. That's one of those that a lot of people cover, I think. Again, I don't know anything about all this stuff. I'm just talking out of my ass, as usual. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Nice, Kevin, nice. For a guy that's so educated and steeped in music lore, I know surprisingly little about American Southern music. Kevin says, Yusefi. I don't know what that is at all. Rich says, I am truly impressed on how much you know about such a broad variety of subjects. Thank you. Appreciate that. I am particularly uniquely retarded. Yes. The problem is I have a insatiable curiosity and no life at all. Yusuf, he's a nerd, says Amanda. Who is Yusuf? I don't know who that is. Amy says, OMG, I've lost all faith in humanity. Someone purposely pooped in the toilet and then clogged it up with paper towels. No, somebody purposely pooped in a toilet? That's ridiculous behavior. Maybe they couldn't wipe enough. You ever thought about that? Kevin says, I can see his face in my mind, but I can't remember his name. I don't know who it is either. John says, Lulu sang Shout and started in a film called Sit With Love, 80s film. Okay. I don't think I've seen that. Rich says, most people know a lot about a little or a little about a lot. You're up there, pal. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And Amanda says, ooh, Amy. And Kevin says, Cat Stevens? Maybe. I don't know who Yusuf is. Or if is it a song title? And John H says, Sir in Mint. I don't know what you mean, John. Kevin says Cat Stevens changed his name to Yosef. Okay. Really? Cat Stevens. Ain't he like a Muslim now? Didn't he like convert to Muslim or Islam? Rich says Yusuf Islam, Cat Stevens. Got it. That's correct. See? I pay attention. Kevin says he converted to Islam, and that's when he changed his name. Okay. And Rich says, well done again, Jake. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, my cheerleading team. I appreciate you very much. It's nice to be recognized as somebody that thinks a little. It's really not that impressive. I've just lived a really long time. And Rich says, WTF. I mean, I like to play Stump the Musician at shows, so maybe you could try that here. Just start talking about some random-ass topic and see if I know anything about it. Kevin says because he converted to Islam, he would no longer entertain for money. Some people are really weird. I've heard that joke before with Christians. Oh, we can't play at bars. We're Christian. This guitar can only be played to play gospel music. You can't touch it. You know what? God gave me my talent too, you know. Just because I don't play gospel don't mean anything. You think God likes a little picking? You think David, the guitar player in the Bible, you think he was picking gospel music? No, he was rocking to some Skinner out there in the desert with nothing to do. bands of hordes of people trying to kill him, living in the mountains. He was a hillbilly. Come on. Hit that like button, everybody. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, and CashApp $, Jake Johnson Band. Thank you very much. John H. says, with Sidney Poitier, Lulu film Sir with Love. Okay, Sir with Love. Got it. Not Sit with Love. Got it. Amy says, I'm over this day. I hear you, girl. Kevin says, Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly died in a plane crash. His bass player was none other than Waylon Jennings. Waylon Jennings gave his seat up to the Big Bopper that night because Big Bopper had the flu and didn't want to ride back on the bus. He wanted to get there early so he could go to bed. So Waylon gave him his seat and said, I hope your plane crashes. And Big Bopper says, I hope your bus crashes. And that's how they left each other. And then their plane did crash, and Waylon Jennings spent the rest of his life wishing he'd never said that, felt guilty about it, and became Waylon Jennings. Also on the plane that night was Richie Valens and Patsy Cline. Maybe that was a separate plane. I can't remember. Rich says, where are all the women at? They're all here, Rich. Men are dominating the chat for once, LOL. Nah. We're just not talking about anything they're particularly interested in. Amanda says, LOL, Rich, we had our dirty talk and we're tired now. LOL, y'all can have it. Lady B's here. Hey, Lady B, how are you? Lady B says, Rich, I am quickly here with love to all. Well, I'm glad you're here, Lady B. How are you? Rich says, smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. Yes. Counting flowers on the wall, baby. It don't bother me at all. Quietly here. Lady B says, quietly here in the bed resting. Well, at least you're in the bed. I got you halfway there. Rich says, Lady B, good to see you. And Amanda says, hi, Lady B. And Kevin says, Jake, you have a very good memory. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. I worked really, really, really hard on it. To no avail. It's gotten me nowhere in life. I make YouTube videos. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. That would be, now I can't think of his name. I know who it is, though. All I can think of is Van Morrison, and that's not him. No, it's some other guy. I can see his face. Don. Starts with a D. It'll come to me in a minute. McLean? Dean McLean? Don McLean? Something like that. Don McLean. Don McLean. That's it. Amy says, I'm at work, Rich. Kevin says, bye-bye, Miss American Pie. Lady B says, hey, sweetheart. Sorry about the typos. Ugh. Don't you worry about a thing. Kevin says, hello, Lady B. Lady B says, I love you all, heart. We love you too. Debbie, hello, darling. Again, she says, don't tell me I got nothing to do. Don't tell me got nothing to do. It's a good song. Don McLean, that's the one. I got it, Rich. It came to me. Ding, 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 ding. Amanda says, Don McLean. Kevin says, yes. And Lady B says, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipes if the answer is no. Trivia. Roadhouse. John says, I was watching and listening to jan-michael-jared today and Tubular Bells today as well. Nice. Who is jan-michael-jared? Or Jean-Michael-Jared? 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 Sean-Michael-Jared? That's a weird name. Kevin says, somebody in Dawn. And Amanda says, dirty laundry. And Debbie says, Tony Orlando. Lady B says, Tony Orlando and Dawn. Yes, Kevin. And Kevin says, thank you, Debbie. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. Kevin says, tie a yellow ribbon around an old oak tree. Nice. The good old days. Good music. I go way back. John says, damn spell checker. Damn spell checker. Right on. Lady B says, cold as ice, willing to sacrifice our love. Trivia. You go. I don't do well at trivia. I do random sporadic instances of inspiration. Kevin says, Lady B, not Boston. You're as cold as ice. That would be a big foreigner. And Debbie says, foreigner. That's what I think. Kevin says, Debbie, you're good. Lady B says, the title is cold as ice. Yep. Boston did an Amanda song, says Amanda. So did Waylon Jennings. I know one of them. Number. I don't know if I can do it. I probably cannot. I've held it all in word. God knows I've tried. It's an awful awakening in a country boy's life. When you look in the mirror at total surprise, at the gray in your hair and the age in your eyes. Amanda, light of my life, fate should have made you a gentleman's wife. Amanda, light of my my life. Fate should have made you a gentleman's wife. It's a measure of people that don't understand. Pleasure in life is a hillbilly band. I got my first guitar when I was 13. Now I'm pushing 60, but I'm still pretty mean. Amanda, light of my life. Fate should have made you a gentleman's wife. Amanda, light of my life. Fate should have made you Jake Johnson's wife. I've got a couple more years on you, baby, that's all. I've had more chances to ride and more chances to fall. It's not that I'm wiser in so many ways. It's just that my back is against the wall. I've had more chances to ride and more chances to fall. All right, there you go. That's all the singing I can give you tonight. That is going to cause my channel to be demonetized for the evening, but it was worth it. I hope you enjoyed it. Whew. Amanda says, well, I was named after the Waylon song. Well, I just played you the Waylon song, so you got it all the way around, didn't you? And Debbie says, Kevin, that is what the guys on the corner tell me. Kevin says, LOL. Lady B says, y'all, here's the new song by Wolfgang. The guitar part is amazing. Wolfgang is Eddie Van Halen's son. And he is a fantastic guitar player in his own right. Amy says, on the day I was born, the nurses all gathered round and gazed at the wild wonder at the joy they had found. Head nurse said, baby, better leave this one alone. I could tell from the minute Jake was bad to the bone. Bad to the bone. Right on. Lady B says Eddie Van Halen's son. See, I told you. Lady B says Amy, smiley, 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 smiley. Debbie says Lady B, no, but is Wolfgang Eddie Van Halen's son? Yes. Amanda says, I love it when he sings my song. Thank you. My pleasure. Hark back at you. Amy says, oh, that's so sweet. John H. says, heart, 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 heart. Thank you. Lady B says, yep, Debbie. YouTube, his new song, it's not that good, but the guitar part, he definitely has Eddie Van Halen skills or genes. Well, he had to work for it, believe it. He didn't just inherit it. And Debbie says, hands Amanda a pickle. This should hold you until the chill stream is over. Pickle. You gonna eat that pickle? Kevin says, Debbie, LOL. Lady B says, lighters up for Jake. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. You can tell that I used to be able to sing, but I can't do it anymore. Years ago, I could do it. Years ago, I could give Elvis a run for his money, but I can't do it now. Amanda says, LOL, Debbie, a pickle. Lady B says, Debbie, smiley, smiley. An awesome Jake. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. Kevin says, feed Jake, please. I'll take CashApp, $ Jake Johnson Band. Thank you very much. Rich says, here's a tough one. There's been a load of compromising on the road to my horizon, but I'm going to be where the lights are shining on me like something. I don't know. That is a tough one. I've heard that before, but I can't place it. John says, I better meet someone soon, or we'll both be walking around with Zima frames. I hear you. Lady B says, bad. Bad to the bone. Amanda says, bad boy to the bone, LOL. Not bad boy, just bad. Bad. Kevin says, George Thorogood. 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, and 1 beer. Nice. Lady B says, I just love you, period, Amanda. Oh. I love all y'all. Amanda says, oh, lady, I love you too, hon. Lady B says, raspy is good, Jake. It is when Kenny Rogers does it, or Conway Twitty. It just sounds like I'm dying when I do it, but whatever. Amanda says, right, lady, it's sexy. And Kevin says, like a rhinestone cowboy. Yep, I've done that song years and years and years and years ago. Like a rhinestone cowboy, says Rich. Kev. Amanda says, nope, you are a bad boy to the bone, Jake. I'm badass to the bad bone. Gotcha. Lady B says, yeah, Jake can do Christian 1800 numbers. 1 Bible, 1 channel, 1 voice. I like it. Let's do it. Debbie says, Glenn Campbell. I'm a lineman for the county. I drive the main road. I am a lineman for the county. I like old Glenn Campbell. That guy was a great guitar player, and he did not get any credit for it. In fact, most people didn't even know he could play guitar. He was famous for singing, not playing. But go watch. There's some videos since he died. There's been videos popping up on the internet of him playing. The man was phenomenal. A phenomenal guitar player, worth being recognized. If you appreciate that sort of thing. He'd blow Roy Clark out of the water, and Roy Clark was famous for Malagueña. And all he was doing was framming. He wasn't really doing anything with this hand. It was all just whatever. Lady B says, I was trying to be facetious. It didn't land right, Lamau. I hear you. All I could think of was 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, and 1 beer. Probably why I didn't land right. Amanda says Vince Gill is a great guitar player. Yeah, but everybody knows he can play. I mean, he started out in Dire Straits. That's where his first gig was. And then he went to Pure Prairie League and did the song Amy. Amy, what you want to do? I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that Vince Gill played in Dire Straits. Dueling Banjos. Lady B says, did somebody from Hee Haw show pass this month? I don't know, did they? Carlos Santana can make the guitar sing, says Kevin. I like Carlos. Give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. Lady B says, yes, Kevin Santana. I like Santana. There's a kitty on my foot and I want to touch it. There's a kitty on my foot and I want to touch it. Dead presidents. Look them up. I wish my voice was back well enough that I could sing to you guys. I would sing all night long to you, but I can't do it. It really gets to me. This is what regret looks like. Kevin says, Jackson Brown, running on empty. Please come to Boston for the springtime. Staying here with some friends and they've got lots of room. You can sell your paintings on the sidewalk. Buy a cafe where I hope to be working soon. Please come to Boston. She said, no, babe, you come home to me. She said, hey, Ramblin' boy, why don't you settle down? Boston ain't your kind of town. Ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. I'm the number one fan of a man from Tennessee. Five Finger Death Punch, Blue on Black. Isn't that Kenny Wayne Shepherd? Blue on black, tears on the river, red tail lights. Something, something, something. Amanda says, Lady B, Amy said Connie Francis died. Is that who you're talking about? Right. Swoon Dave Loggins, says Debbie. Red Hot Chili Peppers, take me to the place I love, take me all the way. I don't ever want to feel like I did that day. Sometimes I feel like the world's going crazy. Sometimes I feel like I'm all alone. The city I live in, the city of angels. Lonely as I am, together we cry. Rich says, nah, it was the fat guy on Hee-Haw. He did the Ernest movies too. Oh, okay. I did not know. Rich, Amy says, black and orange stray cat sitting on a fence. Ain't got enough dough to pay the rent. I'm flat broke, but I don't care. Strut right by with my tail in the air. Stray cats, stray cats. Amanda says, ℂ𝕠𝕠𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝. I don't know who that is. John says, I remember Curtis Stenger. I don't know who that is either. I know who Brian Setzer is, though. Stray Cats. That came out when I was a little boy. I heard it on a radio. One of those little ones that sit in the window. And it tripped me out because music didn't sound like that. Rich says, I remember Stinky Finger. Hey now, easy. Trailers for sale or rent. Rooms to let 50 cents. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. John says Supertramp. Right on, I know who that is. Amanda says, well, Rich, quit putting them in stinky places. Kevin says, new writers of Purple Sage. Oops. Says Rich, oops, it slipped. You're a bad boy, Rich. You're a bad man. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. Also, CashApp, $JakeJohnsonband, and go to the Facebook page, Untethered Live Chillin'. Check it out. And this is the musical section of the podcast. We talk about all things music from way back when till now. Only now sucks. They don't have any good music now. I remember when 3 Doors Down came out with Kryptonite. I remember thinking, well, maybe there's some hope. These new bands are leaning back towards making good music. That might be something coming around the corner. And it just petered out. Nothing ever became of it. Their next album was garbage. And everything after it was too. So I'm just over it. I'll just stay in the past where music was good. Nope, I ain't never figured out how, Rich. Amy says, Confucius say, man with itchy butthole, wake up with stinky finger. Confucius said a lot of things. Rich says, I whistle like a canary. I whistle like a man who whistles. Was it time when I wasn't sure, but you set my mind at ease. Anyway. Amanda says, yep, Jake can whistle full songs. Amanda says, ooh, Amy, he should wash his butt hole better. Amy says, patience. Nailed it. Kevin says, I believe Jeff Garcia started out with new writers of the Purple Sage. Possible. John says, love the song Black Betty. Oh, Black Betty, bam-a-lam. Oh, Black Betty. Black Betty had a child, bam-a-lam. Black Betty went bam, blam-lam. I like that song too. Rich says, I was whistling with you at the same time. It was comical. Yeah, I saw a video. It was a David Letterman, and he had the best whistler on planet Earth. It was a Guinness Book of World Records best whistler in the world. And he did a little ditty on there to prove that he was the best whistler. And then I did it because I remembered it. And I was like, that can't be the best whistler in the world. I can do what he's doing. So, it's all a scam. Everybody can whistle, or they can't. There is a house in New Orleans. They call. I can't sing it. Sorry. I'd love to. I could play it. I just can't sing it. The House of the Rising Sun, says Kevin. Rich says, Ram Jam, one hit wonder. I know, right? They should have made more music. That was a great song. Kevin, Jake used to be able to nail that song, says Amanda. Yeah. Used to, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I'm just a husk of an old man now. I'm an old man now, covered in scars. Some I got fighting in redneck bars, and a bunch of new tattoos that Squinch put on me. They said my mother was a lady of the night, and then one day she saw the light. Now she don't do the things she used to do. I had a 410 rifle and a Bowie knife too. Red man the back and I like to chew. And we count the trains as the cars go past. And if that ain't country, I'll kiss your ass. Rich says, you may as well cut your hair now if you can't sing no more. I know, right? Get a real job? I've thought about it, believe me. It ain't been so many times my lights can't get cut off. I got to go out and cut my hair and get a real job. Kevin says, long, cool women in black dress. Amanda says, oh, hell no, Rich. No on ixnay on the hair cutting. No, I'm just going to die with my dignity intact. That's all. You can keep the pervy stash, though, says Rich. Yeah, my 70s porn stash. I know, right? It's necessary. The old porn stash. John says Amanda won't like that. She likes dragging Jake around. Amanda says no, he can keep both. The stash to tickle with, and I like running my fingers and playing with his hair. Well, that's worth keeping it there. At least I ain't going bald. I got that much going for me. I'm not going bald. I might be old, but I got my hair. Thank God for small favors. The sad truth of the matter is music has always been a fickle mistress. I knew that when I started it. I also knew if I hadn't made it by the time I was 25, I wasn't going to. And here I am 50 and still going. So clearly I have issues. Who we missing? Aaron, Fab, Linda, all of the above. They weren't expecting me on a Thursday night because I did Tuesday night, but here I am. Untethered Live 2, the search for more money. You know how it goes. Aaron is taking care of his girlfriend. I don't know about Fab Daddy. And it seems like I heard from Linda earlier. She may have even been here at the beginning of the chat. I can't remember. They all kind of run together in my head. Amanda says Aaron's girl had chemo today, so he's taking care of her, and which is where he should be. Debbie says, I like the 70s porn stash. Right on. Thank you very much, Debbie. John says, prayers for both of them. I know, right? They need it. Amanda says, me too, Debbie. And Rich says, chemo is so taxing on your body. I know. I am not going down that road. And kudos to anybody that's got that kind of courage. I'm not doing it. I'm going to ride this bitch till the wheels fall off, and that's all there is to it. I'm not going to play those games. And I tell you what else I ain't doing. I ain't taking old man medicine either. I'm not going to have one of those little boxes with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday full of pills. I'm not doing all that. You can hang it up. I'm too cool to go out like that. Facts, Jake says Rich. I know, right? I ain't doing it. I know that time has to come, but it ain't coming for me. Amy says it's Thursday. I didn't know there was a show tonight until Kevin told me. I didn't either until I got home. This is not a regularly scheduled program. You guys are lucky to be here with me. Or blessed, one or the other. Special. Let's go with special. I don't think anybody else even knows we're here. So, 9 of you hanging out. And Kevin says, prayers, prayers, and prayers. Thank you, Kevin. Makes me want to go out and play my drums. Amy says, Jake's video stirred up some atheists' feelings on Wimkin today. I saw that. That was nice. That's great that people are chatting about it and talking about it. So I'm glad to see that. I noticed there was a couple of people doubting me. I wonder if they watched the video and found out that I knew a little more than they thought I did. Debbie says, short bus special. Thank you, honey. Yep, short bus special. That's what I should have called it. I had to go with something clever like magnets. They're just overly dramatic rocks. Short bus special. That's what I should have called it. They need to watch the videos, says Amy. I agree. Thank you for putting it up there, too, by the way. But it was nice to see people conversing, you know. One guy in there was just stringing words together. I don't even think he was actually, I think he was like copying stuff out of a thesaurus or something. Thesaurus. And that could be tomorrow's title. All right. If I can remember. I don't really see the point in titles anyway. The way we do this show, conversation might go anywhere. So it rarely goes as I plan it. John says, that was a big coach crash in Britain today. 70 children on it fell off the road 20 feet. One didn't make it, and loads are injured. That's terrible. Sorry to hear that. A coach crash. Is that a bus or a train? Kevin says sad. John says, bus. Got it. That's terrible, man. Lord, please be with their families. Thank God my children made it all the way through school without getting in any trouble like that. I worried about that kind of thing every day. Amy says, that's sad. Tis. And Debbie says, Jake calls us special. My comment was asking if he meant short bus special. Oh, no. I meant special as in lucky. Lucky that you got to see it. Because it's not part of the program. It's extra. This is an extra show. I'm committed to 5 nights a week. I've done 7. So. I do have a vacation coming up, though. I'm extremely tired. You can only burn the candle at both ends for so long. Amy says, take some time off. We'll be here when you get back. I might do that eventually. Amanda says, yeah, and 7 nights messing up my cuddling time. Oh, we got to make a living somehow, honey. Amy says, rest your voice. I know, right? It needs it bad. It's actually a lot stronger tonight than it has been for a while. I'm actually kind of grateful for that. I got to sing 2 songs tonight. I haven't sang in forever. So that's actually a blessing. Maybe I'm getting better. Maybe it's a calm before the storm. Who knows? Compared to what it sounded like 4 years ago. I know, right? John says, I need a road trip, Jake, and rest. And then he retracted it. Yeah, I've been steady going downhill for a while. And John says, Jake, you need a road trip. Ah, I got you. Yeah, I need a road trip like I need a hole in the head. Amy says, that's the first. He read it after it was retracted. No, I read it and then it was retracted. It just happened. There's a little delay. But I did get to see it before it went away. I think it was deleted as I was reading it. Looked like a typo anyway. Need a new phone, says John. I hear you, John. Well, it's 10 o'clock, and we're at the bottom of the chat, so I guess I'm going to head on off to bed, fellers and ladies. I enjoyed this evening. Thank you all for being with me. Come see me tomorrow night for a chill stream on Friday, like it's supposed to be. Amanda says, me too, Nugget, and YouTube is torturing me with the phone I want in the ads. And John says, good night, everyone. Amy says, I'm glad I caught you a little bit. Me too, Amy. Thank you for being here, honey. And thank you for posting those videos. I appreciate that. And thank you for spearing on the chat and the conversation around those videos. That's awesome. It means a lot to me. I appreciate that. Amy says, good night. Good night, everybody. Have sweet dreams. I love each and every one of you, true. Do something good with yourselves. Debbie says, good night, y'all. Kevin says, good night, everybody. Listen, be kind out in the world. It's a hard place out there. And the more of us that can be nice, the better off it'll be out there. So you're contributing to the good side of the world when you do nice things. So just be nice. And Amy says, I have a wrench. I need to promote the videos. There you go. Thank you. Always find a thing that is needed and fill it. Find a problem and solve it. Find a hole and fill it. That's a good way to be. Thank you. I appreciate you very much, Amy. You're wonderful. All right. Like, subscribe, share, support, join, super chats, and $, Jake Johnson Band on Cash App if you feel like loving a person. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. God bless. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for watching.